very often think that there are no new stories to be created. It seems we already saw everything that's possible, and this is another good example of that. A person who finds a mysterious object, and as soon as they touch the object, they are teleported for a whole new dimension. Of course, we are talking about Digimon. No, seriously, I don't really see this as a problem, as many excellent and vastly different stories appear from similar backgrounds like this one. Hi, I'm Lucas Highland, and in this video we're gonna talk about Forspoken, one of the most waited upcoming games.
It is quite beautiful.
Yeah, in a everything here wants to kill you kind of way.
In essence, this game is gonna be an open-world action RPG, a new IP developed by Luminous Productions and published by Square Enix. I did my best to find information about this game, but most of the official information about it was the videos they published. Once in their official website, when you click on About the Game, all we have is a 3.5 line long paragraph that says, Forspoken follows the journey of Frey, a young New Yorker transported to the beautiful and cruel land of Athia. In search for a way home, Frey must use her newfound magical abilities to traverse sprawling landscapes and battle monstrous creatures. In this part, that is probably when she gets teleported from New York to the magical land of Athia, we can see she has this bracelet on her hand, while she still is in New York. I couldn't find a scene showing what I'm about to say, but I believe that's when she puts the bracelet on her wrist, it's when she gets teleported for this new dimension. But this is no regular bracelet, and I think you already know that. This is a freaking magical speaking conscious bracelet that even has a name, Cuff. At the first time I saw this, I thought to myself, oh god, it's gonna be difficult for me to accept that she's literally chatting with a freaking bracelet. But I changed my mind as soon as I put some logic behind my weird feeling about it. How hypocrite would I be if I accepted that she can cast magical walls of lava in a world she got teleported to, but I couldn't accept there is some kind of magic that gives consciousness to a bracelet? Well, it's magic. If we can accept a wall of lava, the other thing is not that absurd. Cuff is a companion very useful in the game that helps with the magical powers and even help you to scan the enemies to get a better perspective of how you should fight each enemy before engaging the combat. According to Square Enix, this game can be described as a narrative-driven adventure, which for me is a problem. In the game story, Freya, the main character, is special not only because she is a foreigner from another dimension, but also because in this world a huge mysterious corrupt force blasted their land, corrupting all living creatures outside the city walls. The city is called Sepal, turning all humans and animals into deadly uncontrollable monsters. But it seems that Freya is not affected by this curse, making the inhabitants of the city seeing her as a hope. But some of the crazy authority rulers of the city don't seem as happy as the city's population about her presence there. The story seems to have the objective of helping the people of Athia to solve their problems, as well as helping Freya to find a way back home. I don't know about you, but if I was teleported to a new dimension where I have freaking superpowers, I'm sorry, but New York, I would stay there forever. Although this brief description seems to be very inviting, for me there's a small rock in the way. Probably this is just my personal perspective, but when we compare the way the storylines go in Square Enix games compared to others in the market, it always feels a few steps back. Take the Avengers game as an example. They got lost with the story and the characters very quickly. I know there are some other examples of good narratives by them, like the Guardians of the Galaxy for example, but even this game wasn't playable for me due to the weird way they make the dialogues and the character personalities seem extremely artificial. It looks and sounds more like a cheap theater play. I don't know if you understand what I mean. First of all, in Forspoken, why don't the characters have facial expressions when they talk? It's kinda distracting. They move their mouth, but the rest of their face are completely static. And the way they speak and sound, it's too artificial. With a few exceptions like this clip here.
How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Lies! She dies!
But I have an example of what I mean in this clip that I'm about to show. Listen to the long pauses between the sentences and also when they change the character who's speaking. It's just not natural, it's weird.
And where can I find those?
in Prenost.
Huh? Wait, aren't there any in town?
I'll draw you a map and give you the key. You'll have to do the rest yourself. If you can bring them back, and that's a big if, I'll make you something with that ore of yours.
There's a dragon in the front gate and we can't let him break in or we will all be dead. There's a dragon in the front gate and we can't let him break in or we will all be dead. Do you get what I mean? But if this is not enough, listen to this.
That's it, yeah.
Who's there?
And technically not Earth. Well, not what you would call Earth anyway.
I swear to God, asshole, show yourself!
Show myself, I've shown.
Where are you?
Right here, at the end of your arm. Oh, hello, yes.
Come on, a normal human with healthy hearing is completely able to understand where sounds come from. I don't know about you, but I would totally be able to understand the sounds coming from my wrist in less than half of a second. Also, the characters, mainly Frey and Cuff, seem to make something that annoys me very much. That is speaking with pre-made sentences that almost sound like a radio commercial. And this is an example of what I said in the actual game, how weird the sentences are.
You may once have been human, but you can't afford to be sentimental.
Yeah, I think I can manage that, thanks.
This one's going to be a chore.
Not the pep talk I needed.
Let me know in the comments below if for you it's also not natural and if it bothers you. And once you are down there, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I bring new videos like this about the video game industry every single week, sometimes even more than one. And if you are enjoying this video so far, also give it a thumbs up. It helps me a lot. Thank you. Now back to the video. But I kind of feel they see those problems I mentioned too, because most of what we saw so far from this game is mainly focused on the gameplay and not on the storyline. Lots and lots and lots of demonstrations of combat, spell systems, and the parkour, which is understandable because here is where the game shines. And it really literally shines. The movement on this game looks insane. Since the infamous franchise, I think game developers understood that in the new generation of games, people would love to see fluid and fast-moving characters. Like what we see in the new Spider-Man games, that the movement is so fluid that it's almost second nature to us. And we really feel in control over our movements. And this is something that we probably gonna see in Forspoken too. The movement looks to be very fluid and it's probably going to be very addictive. Not only traveling around between far locations in the map, but also in combats where we can quickly create some distance when we need to. Do you know how to figure out when the developers nailed the movement? It's when we have the option to fast travel between far locations in the map, but we still prefer to travel by ourselves. I don't know about you, but this is what happened to me in both of the new Spider-Man games. I think I used the Metro fast travel 3 to 5 times in both games combined. And I really hope this happens here too, because we are gonna have fast travel, but it would be cool if we preferred not to use it. Fast running, dashing, zapping, gliding and more. It looks complete, fluid, and overall, if it is anything close to what we saw so far in their preview videos, the movement is gonna be excellent and one of the best parts of this game. Let's wait and see. Also, the combats and spells seems to be dope, fast pacing and with lots of different possibilities of attacks, going from quick projectiles to huge walls of lava, like I mentioned before. The variety will be considerable, from fast attacks, heavy attacks, crowd control, support and so on. We will use the classic selection wheel to toggle the desired spells, which in some games slows the gameplay a little bit. But in a game that looks so fast pacing as this one, I do believe that a break is welcoming. The particle effects on this game looks insane, and although sometimes it looks a little overwhelming, if I was a game artist team director and my team could pull out some effects with this quality, I would 100% use as much as they did, or even more. Probably more. The damage system will follow the trend that started with Destiny, where we can see the exact damage we are dealing to our enemies as shown by the numbers that pop up when we hit them. And our character progression will make these numbers go up. Pretty standard nowadays. A few generations behind, they used to hide the numbers from the players. Most of the games that showed the numbers used to be those niche nerdy RPGs. Don't take me wrong, I know that the numbers popping up when we hit an enemy is extremely old, much older than Destiny. Destiny, but what I'm saying is that Destiny brought this to the most streamlined games. And thank you Destiny for making this more common than ever, because it's very welcoming in more streamlined games like this one. The nature in this game also looks very convincing, and it's a strong selling point too. There will be good diversity of ambience like forests, plains, and abandoned cities that together create a very credible world atmosphere. The attention they paid to detail is worth mentioning. The grass and flowers are very natural, even the way it moves when we walk over it. They made a darn good job here. The RPG system is a little different from what we are used to. First of all, mana, which normally is what determines whether or not we still having fuel to cast the spell, in this game seems to be a little different. You will get mana by leveling up. I guess you can level up by grinding in combats, but as well as gathering mana from these pools we can find all around the map. And collecting enough mana will allow us to unlock new spells. There's a cool thing in the character progression systems too. That is the fingernails, that apparently will be a system to select the passive skills. So whenever you change the design on the fingernails of the character, the passive skills will change. Interesting, and probably a first in the video game industry. I saw many things, but not changing the design of the fingernails. There seems to be a vast amount of creatures we are gonna have to deal with, which is great to make sure the game doesn't get repetitive. And although the creatures look very interesting, I have a bittersweet sensation about them. I feel they look great, but at the same time I feel they do not fit very well in the world they created. This may be my taste, but it seems they are way too influenced by the Final Fantasy style. That is a different fantasy world than this one. The team behind Forspoken is mostly the same from Final Fantasy 15, and we can see this clearly in some of the NPC clothing as well as the creature designs. That for me again didn't work that well here, but these are just details. There are also some problems that the community is concerned about. First, there are some people afraid the game will be too easy, because in the trailers and previews they didn't show many situations where Frey was in imminent danger. But honestly, I don't believe this will happen. I think showing this in a game preview would be a buzz killer maybe. But it's still a possibility, one that I'm not too concerned about. But hey, just to say I didn't mention it, I hope this game is not one of those where you walk around just smashing enemies very easily. I hope it has some serious challenges in difficult combats and an engaging management system, like demanding the player to know when to use the spells and attacks not to dry up the stamina too soon. For example, I loved how in Days Gone they made a huge challenge to have ammo to deal with the zombies, and sometimes in the beginning of the game the weapons that we had used a lot of ammo to take down just one zombie. So this added a new layer of challenge to the players to manage the ammo and also consistently grind up to have the better gear. And I hope the same happens here, a situation where we have to manage our resources. We don't have infinite stamina and are just smashing enemies all around the world. Also, there is a small concern about how empty the game will be, because multiple times along the gameplay preview the world seemed kinda empty, but I don't believe this will be the case, because at the same time there were many parts in the previews that Frey was just dashing and gliding around and dozens of enemies showed up. So yeah, I don't believe that an empty world will be a problem here. The third possible problem is that some people noticed some FPS drops in the previews, mainly in the combats, which could happen mainly because of the huge amount of shiny particles all around. But I'll have some faith in the dev team and say this happened for the same reason as the empty parts of the world I mentioned before. They were showing things from an unfinished product, and in the case of the empty spaces, maybe they made those parts empty on purpose just to demonstrate the parkour and the other stuff in the game more clearly without being interrupted by random combats. That's a possibility too. This is what you can expect from Forspoken, an innovative game that uses the speed power of the new generation of games to create an interesting fast-pacing world, with one of the best movement systems in the game so far. A welcoming and well-developed RPG system, some cool and small innovations in terms of system here and there too. Thrilling combats that probably will not get old soon. An experience with graphics that are not superior to anything we saw so far, but at the same time with visuals that are truly impressive. Because as I am tired of repeating, graphics and visuals are two different stuff. Visuals matter, but graphics not that much. A game with an interesting story, but that probably will fail to get all the interest it could because of bad dialogue mechanics and poor facial expressions. So don't expect expressive and impressive cinematics. A game that has everything to be memorable and fun. And finally, is Forspoken worth the hype? In my opinion, yes. The game seems to have very little chances of failing. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I think they know the weak points of the game. So I do believe they will focus on the good ones. And I know they are that good on those good parts too. And I believe they will not try to make this game be something that it's not meant to be. So unless you expect a graphically impressive story-first game filled with fantastic cinematics instead of a really fast-paced and gameplay-driven game, then I believe that when the game comes out, you won't feel it was overhyped. Forspoken will come out on the 24th of May 2022. Wait, isn't this on the past? Is the game out already? Was delayed, okay, sorry. Forspoken will come out on the 11th of October 2022. Bro, this is also in the past. Will this game come out or not? Really, it was delayed twice. It's weird. Alright, it seems that Forspoken is gonna be released in the 24th of January 2023. Almost one entire year after its initial release date. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they delayed the game once more. But let's hope it doesn't. It's gonna come out for the PS5 and PC, probably coming out to other consoles in the future, but as it's said in the footer of their official website, this is not gonna happen until at least January of 2025. This was what to expect from Forspoken. I'm Lucas Highland and thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. If you reached this part of the video, comment below. I think I never saw a flying building, just to confuse the people who are writing comments or reading comments below. If you have nothing better to do, watch these other videos that YouTube is suggesting you. I always mess up the site. Once again, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.